Hey guys, welcome back. Ahmed here, A to Z Auto Masters. And today we got this 2007 530 Xi BMW. Car came in with a few issues. Number one, we'll be doing a starter motor in this car. We'll show you how to do a starter motor. And also the infamous BMW oil leaks. So we got a couple oil leaks in here and we'll show you how to do it. We got an oil leak coming from the oil cooler in the front of the engine, and we got also oil leaks coming from the Vanos solenoid on the front. And as always, don't forget, if my videos were helpful, if you learned anything from my videos, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And please let us know in the comments below how did the job go. And don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so we under the hood here. Starter motor is right here underneath the intake manifold. We're gonna have to take this intake manifold out of the way. So first thing first, since we're doing a starter, we're gonna have to kill the battery. The battery is in the trunk, so just disconnect the negative battery terminal in the trunk. These are T45. There's just a couple of turns by hand. There's two more here, but it seems like somebody been here before. They never put these back. If you have to take these out, you just take this out of your way. Okay, we're gonna have to remove that tray anyway. If you have the two back bolts, you're just gonna take it off and take the two back bolts. Okay, you slide it to the side. Take this out. We get these cap and filters out of the way. It's this metal clip, you just pull out. And with the socket 13, you just basically half a turn on all these locking bolts right there. Just half a turn, don't break it. You have the two sensors here, the sensor and the switch for the hood. Just unplug both. And move the harness to the side. There's usually two push clips in here. They're also missing. Somebody been here before. And now we get this bar out of here. It's a T45. Now we can take this air filter housing with the air filter and the air intake system out. And disconnect that mass airflow meter. We got these two T30s here. Okay guys, so we're trying to get this snorkel out of the way, this intake hose. So pull this wire, that one. So we have that hose clamp right there that holds the intake tube. It's a 6mm. And just like that, take it out. And now we can just unplug basically everything here. Wire, throttle body, and we got this manifold sensor. And we take this power cable out of that clip here. I would also disconnect the hose right there that goes to the per solenoid. Just disconnect that from here. Just like that. Put it aside. And now that auto sensor plug. And that one too. And now I will take all these bolts, they're 11mm. Bolts and nuts. You got 3 nuts here and 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. Unplug the sensor. We need to disconnect that fuel line now. So let's make sure you have a rag to absorb that fuel. And now we got this fuel line out of the way. There is 2 10mm bolts inside here. And now this steel bracket can just come out. Okay. Now we pull the manifold out. And here is the starter. And now we release this hose from here. Just like that. So I'm just gonna stick my hand through here, unplug the signal wire, just like that. And with the 13, take the power line out of the starter. And now we can just pull that power line out of the starter, take the terminal out, Okay guys, so we're under the car now. There's the oil pan, front diff, and right on top of that you have this hose right there, and that hose comes from the intake manifold down to the pan for oil drainage. This has to be disconnected. That's what's holding us in the back. So it's not an easy hose to come off, but we're gonna take it out. Okay, so we're gonna use one of those disconnect tools, like fuel line disconnect tools, and you can also use a 90-degree or right angle pick, right like that, and pick it. That's the only way to do it. Okay, so we got that. We got the line disconnected right here. It took me at least half an hour or so trying to play with it, get it out. You can pick it with a pick and with the tools to just take it out. So I'm just gonna pull this manifold just like that. Gonna have to do what we have to do. Okay, so we basically got the manifold held up here, and we're gonna try to just loosen that starter just like that. It should be E14, so let's see. Here guys, you can see flex head ratchet, and that's how we're gonna take it out. Okay, we cracked both bolts loose, and just gonna try by tip of my fingers just to get them out. Okay, here's one. That's the one coming from the engine side. Now we have the long one coming from the tranny side. Also guys, a quick tip. When you try to take it out, it's very limited tight space. You can use something like a 12 point, it's 11, and if it will fit. So you can use this to actually loosen the bolt out if you can't fit a socket in there. And here's the starter. Okay guys, so the new starter right here, we got the Bosch. It's right in place, and now we're gonna put the bolts. Okay, those bolts are aluminum. They have to be changed every time you take them out. So we got a new bolts here. I'm gonna start with the little one on the bottom just to hold the starter in place. Okay guys, so I'm using again the 11-12 point here to tighten that back one. Okay, so This one is tight. Now let's do the same thing. The bottom one. And now we go back here, the exact opposite. Put that, plug in the starter back and put the power cable. Now the starter wires are plugged in, and we can start putting everything back together. Before we do that, we're gonna have to do the oil cooler. We have one bolt back here. We usually have this bolt here. It's the manifold usually in the way of it. So since we have the manifold out, we're just gonna do the oil cooler at the same time. The oil cooler seal. Okay, I'm gonna start by pulling this cover out. And of course, we should drain some of the coolant out first, because there's coolant run through this. Now we can take these two bolts holding the cooler to the oil filter housing. It's a E12. This one, and the same thing on the side here. Okay, so we got both bolts out. We have one left down there, same size. And you can just pull on the cooler, just like that. Now we can get the clip out and move this upper radiator hose from the housing. Okay. And we can disconnect this sensor. Just give you a little bit of space. Okay, so we got one bolt here, one bolt back here, and one bolt in the bottom from this direction. So I'm gonna start by taking this hose out just to give you a little bit of room. They're 10 millimeter. Okay, we got one here. That's all three of them are E10. And one here. And we got one down there. That's the trickiest one out of all. So we got this housing cleaned up now. We'll replace those two gaskets. Okay,
While we're here, we're just gonna change these two Vanos solenoid O-rings because they leak. They're two 10mm bolts. Here's one, and here's two. Pull the O-rings. Right there, both of them. Here we're gonna clean the solenoid, and we can also pull this seal out. We got the new one right here. Put the first one in, and now the O-ring. We'll put some oil on the O-ring so it won't get caught. And now you slide this back in. And now just very slow, we're gonna try to pull this solenoid back in place. You're basically gonna use the screw to pull everything in, but just very easy. Okay guys, so we got all this done here. We're ready to put this manifold back. So I'm gonna use a new gasket here. Okay, so we got the new gasket in place. Now we can just slide this manifold back. Just like that. And we're gonna start putting all these bolts, basically everything back the way, in reverse order from the way we took it out. You're gonna start plugging all the plugs back, auto sensors here, throttle body, all the plugs, everything gonna be plugged back in place. Okay, so we got the manifold back, we tied all the bolts in here, we put the auto sensor wires back. Okay, just gonna reattach everything. We got a new filter here with the new O-rings. Okay guys, so we filled up the coolant. We had fresh oil, and we drain, of course we drained the oil, and we have fresh oil in there. Car's running really good, no issues, no leaks, so good. Job is done. Thank you for watching.